It's important to understand as individuals when to try to be impartial and when to know to be partial. Leading too much into impartiality can lead to relativism and maybe sort of like this indirect blindness to duties. Being too partial can lead to narcissism, exclusion, as well as unnecessary conflicts. Some may say being partial leans into loyalty and dependability. I don't think the loyalty and dependability inherent in partiality is a bad thing in form alone, but it's the truth of the necessity in the context of the individual situations that matters. Does your partiality, your loyalty, your dependability, and carrying out your duty to your subgroup put you into territory of blinding you to your inherent identity, your humanity, your universal group? Does your loyalty to the subgroup create a situation where you become inhuman and you become a detriment to humanity's needs as a general principle? Is it realistic to be partial but for the right reasons? Not for particularities like state lines, country lines, gender lines, religious lines. Whatever subgroup we are a part of, it should never go against the universal group. That's the core of ethics. That's the core of justice, human justice. Partiality actually becomes necessary to support universality, only universality. Let's define impartiality and partiality as they pertain to philosophy. In academic philosophy, the tension between partiality and impartiality reflects a deeper conflict between abstract reasoning and lived experience. Impartiality promotes fairness by requiring that individuals reason without favoritism, treating all persons equally. In contrast, partiality argues that personal relationships, community ties, and embodied perspectives are essential to moral understanding and epistemic credibility. While impartiality aims at universality and objectivity, it risks erasing the richness of real human contexts. Partiality, though vulnerable to bias, grounds philosophy in relational and historical reality. So I recently did a video about Rawls' original position. If you're about to enter into your life, but you have no idea whether you'd be rich or poor, you would design society in such a way as to ensure your survival if you ended up being poor. So this is a huge assumption given that we have people today who are poor but still vote for systems which they are worse off, believing that they will eventually be rich or just to try to hurt others around them. So I do love the philosophical exercise Rawls presents here. I also do think pragmatic thinkers would be more likely to tend toward bottom-up distribution systems out of rational self-interest. If they can't appeal to empathy. We'd like to appeal to empathy, but it's an extra step and takes some education. Harnessing a person's selfish nature can be easier for a large majority of people to understand, which is why I like this example of impartiality. Compatibilists say that when you make decisions that include unconscious motivations, that still counts as freedom for you when you're making those choices, right? The unconscious is you. You can't separate you from yourself in order to pretend to be free. That's basically what they're saying. So compatibilist impartiality must be based around whatever it is that makes you, you. Incompatibilist theories require that you are free from unconscious motivations. I stand with incompatibilism in that we should try to account for all of our unconscious motivations, most importantly our animalistic natures, our snaps to judgment, but it would be completely impossible to escape them completely and just be a robot. We can get close depending on the situation, but we have to try. So in the end, compatibilists are right in that human impartiality is always going to include some part of you that you're not completely in control of. We have to try to be more impartial in situations where the judgment of others may be necessary, such as sitting on a jury or just mitigating problems at work even. My most important message is that partiality is fully justified when in support of universal ideals for the human group. It's only partiality because it's reactive against the other subgroup pressures. It's not technically partiality. It just seems like partiality in reaction. It's just an affirmation of what is. That's not a reaction to what is, it's just a description. It's a reaction in a way, but not a reaction in which ideals react against other ideals. It's the idea, the sign reacting to being. Relativists sort of see everything as relative. They throw away the power that universal determinism is in the moment. They sort of say, why state the obvious? We just, we focus on difference and we minimize the difference. And so what ends up happening is the reasoning doesn't include the 99% of reality that is considered obvious. By ignoring the 99% of reality, you ignore universality also. This is really the problem with partiality with the goal of subgrouping. Always remember the universal group, the human group, all the time in all things. It's always first. All these subgroups, nationality, religion, gender, generations like millennials and boomers, these are all subgroups. They're not meant to be top level and as important as humanity. Thinking that what a thing is like is as important as what a thing is. Universality is not just a subgroup. It's not another particularity. And people that don't see it or are so focused on their own particular groups just see it as another particularity. And in doing that, they deny what they are beyond choice. You don't get to choose whether or not you are a human. You can go back on that, and in the sense of justice, the rest of us can consider you human traitors. That can happen. But nevertheless, physically, as part of evolution, as part of determinism, as part of an emergence in this universe that's part of rules that we have no control over, you are always going to be human. You don't have a choice. But yeah, the first step is human contradiction. Or when I attack somebody else, I'm attacking myself over there. I mean, we're all coming from common ancestors. So even though we don't see it right now in the moment, our history dictates a physical universal in the past. Don't be fooled by your own short attention spans, or don't be fooled by space and your time and this moment with the human animals creeping along in 100-year window. We have a history, and that got us to where we are now. So if we acknowledge that history, universality comes out in its physical form in our individual selves. You're part of the whole, and that tree, it comes like it's like a tree. Your history, our common ancestor, the tree of human evolution, the trunk, our past. Universality is the trunk of the tree, okay? But it's like in this moment today, people see it as just a floating cloud of branches. And that's problematic. And we've forgotten about the trunk of the tree and that we're all part of the same trunk. And that goes for aliens on other planets. It goes for all life, okay? We're all part of the same tree of life. And we can't forget about the trunk of the tree that keeps us rooted. So if you guys like this kind of philosophical subject matter, help us out by liking the video and subscribing to the channel. Thanks for all the recent subscribers that came in. I think I'm about to hit 100 subscribers. Yeah, I'm huge. I'm famous. It's taken me a year just to get 100. It's crazy, the difficulty of getting out of YouTube jail. So anyway, see you guys in the next video.